Like, first of all, I mean, thank you all for making the trip down here. I mean, I know people have come from all over India to be here, first of all, so thank you so much. Secondly, look, thank you for inviting me. It's my first time to India, and I've got to tell you, I mean, just the beauty of the country is one thing, and I've only seen very small portions. But your food, wow, that's incredible. So I've been lucky that Anisha's been taking me to a lot of places. Just quickly, so I've been with Concur for about 6 years. I started off humbly as a CSP, which is a customer success partner. So you'll all know your customer success partner, Shinam, Nisha, Soom, who's actually quite new with us, or actually Raghu as well. So I started off in Southeast Asia, and what we identified was that customers were actually starting to get some adoption challenges. So in 2019, by my predecessor, I was tasked to set up a team called the Adoption Center of Excellence, which still exists today. Now, with that Adoption Center of Excellence, what we did is we worked on the most troubled and the largest accounts in the region to help them to really drive adoption. And that's why I'm super excited to talk about adoption today. Now, the only thing I'm not happy about is they only gave me 15 minutes to talk about something that I've been doing for like 4 years. But, so with that, I will actually just get straight into it. So the one thing is that, you know, what's really important is that we focus on your outcomes, right? So customer business outcomes are the core of how we drive value, adoption, and usage for you. So that's really where I want to focus on, especially with the CSPs, is to make sure that we're aligned on those. Now, in 15 minutes, I'm not going to address all the adoption challenges, but there are 2 adoption challenges I did want to highlight and share some stories from other customers as well. And the last is kind of prioritizing activities with your CSPs. So I've been in the role for about 6 months, and coming from the Adoption Center of Excellence, I really have brought a new methodology in that I really want to drive out further. And that is to identify where there are adoption challenges, how we can drive that further, because that's really, really, really important. We're not here to kind of say, let's look at new things. We're here to look at what you've got and how to drive value from what you've got and address the outcomes that you're looking to actually achieve. And then after that, we're going to have a roundtable. Sidhu from JK Cement is actually going to, thank you, Sidhu. He's actually going to be doing a roundtable with me, together with Manjusha, who's our VP for services as well. So thank you, Sidhu. So it starts with business outcomes. Now, there's a reason why you've all gone on your journey with Concur. You're trying to achieve something. Business outcomes aren't static, they're dynamic, and they change as your business changes. And we want to make sure that we're actually understanding these as best as possible so that when we look back into the system or into the configuration or into what you're doing and into the data insights that we get. I'm not sure how many of you actually have seen the Conversations of Value or the Global Business Review Decks from our Value Experience team, but they provide a lot of insights whereby we can help you to drive or identify areas where we can drive that adoption. And that is the usage and adoption, because the usage and adoption is key. If you're not driving usage, or you're not driving adoption, it means that there's no data there for you to actually build a story on and to actually go back to talk about the success of Concur. And then that goes into optimization. So once you're actually adopting and once you're actually using, we need to look in the creative ways on how we can optimize that usage as well. So a couple of things. There's a couple of things here that are important around adoption. So like I said, I only wanted to do 2 of the most common adoption challenges. The first is awareness. Now, awareness is crucial because within expense alone, the last time I counted, there's about 46 different areas that can be adopted, tweaked, used. And this is really, really important because we're talking about expense by itself. And obviously there's many more solutions as well. Now, a little goes a long way. So don't try and bite off more than you can chew. Try and just go and try and find an area which is going to drive to your outcomes the best and focus on that area and get the value from that before moving on to the next one. Now, they don't know what they don't know, right? It goes both to the employees and it also goes to the actual, the program admins and also the senior leadership as well. Now, I've got 2 stories here. I was actually in a meeting yesterday at Brand, and one thing that I saw that I really, really, really liked was that they actually had banners, one exactly like that behind you, just on the left there, about driving mobile adoption. Now that's really important because we're seeing that adoption is becoming important and that they want to drive mobile adoption. That's one story about awareness. Make sure your employees are aware of what they've got. The second thing is that in January, we had one of our customers a big bank, came to Hong Kong, and they wanted to have dinner with us. So we were sitting at dinner, they were a little bit late, and I get a frantic phone call from the program admin. And she calls me up, and she's the head of the program, and she says, Sash, can you please come downstairs? I have no Singapore dollars, and I accidentally, on the Grab app, I'm not sure if everyone's familiar with Grab, it's like your Ola, Cars on Rent, Uber equivalent, she put cash, so it didn't pick up her card. So they had no cash and they couldn't pay. So I went downstairs and paid for them. When we got upstairs, the COO was very apologetic and a little bit embarrassed. But during dinner, it came up and he said, Sash, how can I pay you back? Like, how are we gonna get this money back to you? And I said, you know what, Warren? What I want you to do is I want you to have a look at sponsored guest. And sponsored guest is a feature whereby you can get contractors or candidates external to your company to actually utilize the solution so you can capture their spend, et cetera, as well. So fast forward 3 months, what happens is that all of a sudden I get an email from the customer success partner. She says, Sash, can you validate this idea? I'm like, okay, well, I'm kind of interested. So this customer is super engaged with sustainability, diversity, and inclusion. They've gone out and been creative to look at a different aspect of the solution to find how it would fit to achieve their outcomes. What they found was that sponsored guest, because they have lots of kind of candidates and they've got a big presence in Africa, they don't capture enough candidates when they're actually looking for new people to actually take on roles. And what they wanted to do was to roll sponsored guests out so people that lived further out in the country rather than the cities had the opportunity to come into the actual interviews. So what they've done is they've increased the inclusivity of all the people that can come to the interviews now, and that increases their talent pool, and that increases their diversity and also their inclusion. So that was a huge win for them, but we didn't come up with that. We made them aware of something that existed, and they went back and really talked about themselves and talked about their creativity and aligned it back to their goals. So that's really, really, really important. Lastly, is just keep it up. Just small things, address small things, and just keep it up. Go from one to the next. We can't bite off more than we can chew. If you try and chew off more than, if you bite more than you can chew, you're gonna choke. So we want to also keep it simple. Try and keep it as simple. I've had the privilege to meet some customers in India already. And every time that I speak to them, I'm hearing a lot about simplification. I want to simplify particular things. So keep it simple. But when we're talking about simplification, remember, it starts with your policy. And it starts with your policy because that is the business process for your travel and expenses, and that's where we can start to change things. Then, small bite-sized pieces. And prioritize these pieces to make the biggest impact to your outcomes based on that impact as well. So what can we help with? So this is what I was talking about before. We call this the customer adoption summary. Now, it looks pretty rough. This is the simple version of it. But essentially what it is, it's a way for us, using the data that we have and all the insights that we get, to put in one place and in a simple form to show you where we believe we can work on activities to drive adoption, usage, and optimization. So I'll explain it to you. On the left, in the blue, these are all the solutions, and there's also features that you have that can drive value, outcome, and benefits. This has to be associated back to your outcomes. But this gives us the ability to kind of look, where do we need to work? Or does it even make sense anymore? Because the next one down in the red, in the adoption phase from our latest, that could mean that it's not even being implemented, or for some reason you're not adopting it for whatever reason. And we need to identify that so that we can work together, make sure that you're actually either adopting it, using it, and in the worst case scenario, to see if we can work or bring something else in and remove something that you're not using. In the customer success space, we want you to adopt. We want you to use. If you don't, then that's really bad on us, right? That's not good for us. This is what we're metricized on. This is what we're trying to achieve, and we're trying to help partner with our customers to drive that value forward. Then in the consume side, it's really like a traffic light. What you can see in the top is these are areas that are being used really well. But that doesn't mean we stop there. We could find ways to optimize those areas, and if we can optimize those areas, you're gonna drive more value as well. Then in the cream, these are things that you're actually using well, but we can see opportunities where we can work together to even improve that as well. And then in the orange, these are areas where we probably want to pay a little bit more attention. But the one thing is it's multi-threaded. And what I mean by multi-threaded is that if we look at mobile as an example, mobile is probably not being used as well, but if we drive mobile adoption and we help you with that, then expense it will likely also then be used a lot more as well, which means that we can kind of factor it in and drive towards the outcomes that you're looking for. A similar outcome from there could be employee experience, looking at satisfaction or looking at productivity, etc. So that's kind of in a nutshell. So what I really want to suggest is work with your customer success partners. Ask them to help you to get this visibility, to see where you are today, so that we can drive the right activities together to ensure that you're getting adoption and to ensure that you're using and to ensure that we get you to the optimization phase. Because ultimately, this will help you to get to your business outcomes. So lastly, I just wanted to touch on what I think are kind of the top five adoption focus steps. So with that, define your business outcomes. Without the business outcomes, it's very hard for us to help you to kind of bring back to your leadership, to bring back to your business, the factors that are creating the success from the solution. Obtain visibility, right, into your adoption through the data. But we need to have dialogue on this, right? Just because we're seeing adoption, it might not be the right time. You might have plans for something, right? So we need to make sure that we have dialogue and we discuss this together. Then define your adoption activities into themes, align to those outcomes, and break these themes into bite-sized chunks. And lastly, let's make sure that we measure the success of your activities. Quantify the activities and quantify the benefits that you're getting, because if you quantify it, then you can bring that back up to leadership and it makes everyone on the Concur program from the customer side look really, really good. And that's really what I wanted to share today. So thank you so much.